Hi guys, and welcome to the first ever episode of the Create with No Limits podcast. Damn. I am so excited to be doing this podcast right now. No word of a lie. No word of a lie. Why is that? Because I've been wanting to do a podcast for a very long time. And, it was one of those things where I felt like it was saturated. I felt like a lot of people are doing podcasts. But then I thought to myself, TK, yes, a lot of people are doing podcasts, but that doesn't mean that there isn't a space for you. So get in there because you got a lot to say. And people want to listen to you, you got some gems, some sprinkles that you want to throw up there, so do it. So at first I really didn't know what I wanted to talk about. When you're starting out a podcast, you want to have something whereby there's a theme going along with it. It makes sense, and it can be more consistent and long and have longevity. So I didn't want to just bring out a podcast for no reason, but I'm grateful to God that He's given me clarity and He's given me a vision with this podcast, and I'm really excited to see the transformation that's going to take place in not just my life, but in all the lives of the listeners and the viewers, and because it's going to be amazing. Anyway, let me stop ranting. This podcast basically is where we're going to be discussing the limitations, the barriers in our mindset that stop us from creating. I don't know if you've heard about this term called the Creative Rut, whereby you're creative. You have things that you put out there in the world. It could be photography, it could be film, it could be graphic design, it could be music, whatever. You're creative, right? But you find yourself stuck. You find yourself in a place where that thing that just used to connect before doesn't connect anymore. And you want to create stuff. You want to put stuff out there, but you don't know how anymore, And I've found over the years, because I've experienced this myself, where a lot of it is down to the mindset. A lot of it is down to limiting beliefs. You might not believe in what you produce. People might tell you that, yeah, your work is awesome. Your work is sick. But when you look at your work, you're not seeing what they see because you have this idea of what you really want to be creating. Or it could be because of negative thoughts, or you're stuck in the same place and you haven't been able to grow past where you are in your work, and you feel like you're in what I call a creative plateau. With being a creative, we're taking a risk as it is already. For some of us, our parents don't even know what a creative is. Like, that's not even a job title, but we've taken that risk to come out there, share our work with the world, and now we're in a position where we can't move forward, or we're not able to live the life that we want for ourselves. So that's why I came up with this podcast by the grace of God, called Create with No Limits. We should be able to create with no limitations. I believe that we were created in the likeness of God, in His image. And we're not even deep, like the creation process that is in the Bible that we read. When I deep the creation process, He spoke a word and things came to pass, right? And if we are made in His image and in His likeness, then we should be able to create the same way. We should be able to say that we want something done and believe it, and it will happen. And I'm gonna go into a bit more in this, like where I've reformed my mindset, and I was able to not necessarily create the opportunities, but step into opportunities for myself. Where before I was hindering myself. So, like I said, I believe that we are created by the Creator to create. It's in us, it's in our bloods to make it happen, type of thing. So we all have a dream life that we want for ourselves, I believe. Sometimes these failures that we've experienced in our life they attribute and contribute to these limitations in our creativity. You might have had a bad experience with a client, and that's caused you to kind of like not believe in yourself, or you've done some work and you didn't kind of get the praise or the applaud that you wanted to, or you just look at your work and feel like you're not good enough. And if that's how you feel, if you're filled with self-doubt, if you're filled with negative thoughts, imposter syndrome, self-sabotage, and you want to stop those, you want to break those, or lack of confidence, you want to break those and start soaring, start leaping into your destiny, into your purpose as a creative, then this is the place for you, because I'm here to help you to navigate the path to where you want to go. So a little bit about myself. I am a filmmaker, videographer, coach, creative coach, and Christian, as you guys can probably tell already. And yeah, like I would call myself a multifaceted creative in a sense. I do a lot of things, but then I've learned to kind of do things in seasons rather than doing things all at the same time. So with my business, I've been able to take my business from small scale to working with high paying clients and been able to, actually make a living for myself. And that's literally what I've been doing for the past 6 years. And I'm grateful to God for that opportunity. So with this podcast, I'm going to help you guys identify the potential limits that stop us in our mindsets and provide practical systems that we can start using today to transform our thinking. Like I would have appreciated and loved if I had someone in my corner or someone doing something like this back when I started. Because trust me, when I say that I felt alone in the industry, I felt alone as a creative, especially as a female creative, where not a lot of females were doing what I wanted to do. And it was hard. So I had to kind of hustle and bustle through to kind of get to where I am right now. So I want to help you guys navigate that path, create the systems, the structures to help you start living the life that you want as a creative, and maybe even start a business if you haven't started one already, or allow your business to start making you more income. That would be awesome. I know some of you guys want that. And I would also be sharing some of my experiences, like along the way, some of my my good clients, and some of the clients where it wasn't so great, some of the experiences where the way it was just not that great, and how I was able to navigate through that in a sense. I believe that there are no barriers to success except the ones that we place in front of us. There are no barriers to success except the ones that we place in front of us. It all starts in the mind. There's a scripture that says, as a man thinks, so is he. If you think you are something, you become that person. You start to bear fruits. Whatever you put out is from that individual, So I realized, guys, there's so many things that I've learned across the years. Like, some of you might not know me, some of you do. But the more I started working on my mindset and my faith, like, I realized that there's a lot of things that we do to hold ourselves back. And it just takes us like reforming, being renewed, transforming our mindset to kind of experience the opportunities and the blessings that come with that mindset, So a little bit more about me and like my background. I didn't start out as a creative. I didn't go to film school. I didn't go to university to study media or nothing like that. I actually did a psychology degree, and there was a few things that happened in my life, like when I was like 19, 20, 21, that changed my whole life completely. I've done a whole video on this on my YouTube channel, EstherTk Talk. So if you guys are listening on a podcast, you can go hit that up, watch it. It's actually my first video where I went through a few things where my mum passed away, and I had to take on the role as a parent to my youngest brother and my sister that was one. I had to become the parent, like, literally overnight. And that kind of changed the whole trajectory of my life, especially when I got arrested for an altercation with one of my neighbors who was racially abusive towards me. And yeah, I got arrested, which led to me getting a criminal record. So you can imagine life was a bit rough at that time. I was studying psychology, and with psychology, when you want to work with vulnerable people, they don't allow you to have a criminal record. So I kind of found myself in a situation where I was kind of stuck. Like, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I spent a good 2 years in college and 4 years in university, including my master's. So that's 6 years. I spent 6 years trying, working towards something, being a psychologist, and not being able to do it. And that was really, 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 really like depressing for me, like I felt like who I was, the person who I was trying to become, no longer existed, and I had to start again from scratch. I could have gone into like the whole more research side of things, but as you will be able to understand later on from these conversations, I'm a creative and I don't like being confined into research and and reading the statistics and all of that kind of stuff. That's not my forte. So so I felt restricted. So I found myself in a place where I didn't know what I wanted to do. And guys, this was the first transformation for me, because I spent a year and a half basically doing nothing, just taking my sister to nursery, looking after the home as much as I could. Like I said, I've done the whole video on it. After a year and a half, there was a complete transformation. God made me realize that he has already implanted things into us. Like I said, we are created by the creator to create. Yeah. So I didn't need anyone to give me a job. I didn't need anyone to provide for me, because I already had what I needed to provide for myself, because God had already given me a talent. He'd given me a gift, and I didn't know it at the time, but I started looking back at my childhood, looking back at my life so far. And I realized that I was always into like acting. I was into music. I was into drama and all of that kind of stuff. Like, I love those things. And at any party or whatever, I'll be the person with the camera, running around getting people on camera, or I'll be taking pictures of people. And not that I knew how to do it. It was a family event, but I would always volunteer. So when I started looking back at my childhood and the things that I kind of was interested in, I realized that photography was something that I would want to pursue, because I saw a couple of people making money doing weddings, and I thought, yeah, I could do this. So I picked up photography, and I decided to, after doing weddings, after doing events and all of that kind of stuff, then I decided to start doing video, because I felt like the pictures weren't really telling the story that I wanted to tell, in the way I wanted to tell it. And I started dabbling with video, and boy, my friends were like, yo, your videos are sick. Like, you're better at video than photography. I was like, oh, for real? And then I started pursuing that a little bit more. And then I think I finally completely dropped photography actually in 2017. And then I just went on with video from there. So I started filming events. From events, I filmed a wedding, couple engagements and all of that kind of stuff. Didn't like all of that. And kind of navigated my way. In 2018, I made a big, complete transformation again, because I wasn't making money. I wasn't making the money I wanted to make. And I decided to go into virtual tours. Yeah, so this is where you do like a video tour of like a property, a commercial place, or a business establishment. And that's when my business just skyrocketed. Like, I never made so much money in my life. I was like, raw, I've been sitting on this type of talent. And guys, it didn't just happen like that. I don't want you guys to think, yeah, it just happened, boom. It was a mindset shift. It was based on my network as well, and me actually believing in myself. I had to believe in what God has given me. I had to believe in my gifts and the development of my gifts. I had to believe in the person that I wanted to become, because sometimes we just look at the now, we don't look at the forward. And that's another thing that limits us, because we're not looking at that person that we want to become, and we don't believe in that person. So I looked at the Esther of 2020, and I knew that Esther didn't want to be working on certain types of jobs. So I believed in her, and I believed in myself at that moment. And I started making different steps, educating myself, changing my network, and lo and behold, I was able to literally elevate my business. Like, I'm not where I want to go in terms of where my business should be. Where I would like my business to be, my videography business, like, because now I've streamlined it down a lot more, and I only do real estate, like luxury real estate, but there's a level I want to get at right now that I'm trying to get clarity on, and I'm working on it. And the minute that I know exactly what it is, how to take it from where it is to where I want to get it to, boom, it's gonna skyrocket again, because it's the same formula. Like, just keep your mindset in check. Keep your mindset in check. So that's a bit about me. I don't know if I was speaking too fast or whatever, but if you, like I said, guys, if you want to know more, I've done a couple of videos on this already. And yeah, you can DM me as well on my Instagram, or you could just keep listening to the podcast, and you will hear some more stories. Definitely 100%. I've experienced a lot in the past 7-8 years of doing this, and it's been an interesting one, and it's made me really passionate about helping others to navigate their mindset, to serve them, and not for them not to be a slave to their limitations, for you not to be a slave to your limitations. Because I found myself here, and I've even learned that it's a consistent thing, a consistent form of action that we have to take in making sure that our mindset is healthy, that we believe in ourselves, that we don't allow the limitations to stop us, because in essence we become trapped there, and I don't want myself to be there, and I don't want you guys to be there. So if this sounds like something you'll be interested in, please do stay tuned. Like, subscribe, follow. You can even follow me on Instagram, because I do a lot of content on there, on YouTube, because if you're listening to the audio, this is actually being recorded as a video as well. So you'll be able to see the video side of it on there as well. So everything will be in the show notes for you guys. Also, I have a coaching program where I do one-to-one coaching and mentoring with beginner creatives, intermediate creatives, anyone who feels stuck really on their journey. And I act as an accountability, as a mentor, to kind of help you navigate through this process. So yeah, that you can also check that out as well. Again, it's in the show notes. So I don't want to leave you guys with a about me kind of thing and not give you guys any steps to take from today. You've spent about 20 something minutes listening to me rant on. So how you can start from today to create a life with no limits, to create with no limits, to make the work that you want to make, to work with the clients you want to work with, to actually become financially free with your creativity, your creative business, is to first of all get clear on where you are right now. I always believe that if you're driving somewhere and you're using a sat nav, the sat nav will always tell you where you are. Okay, it will tell you where you are and the distance it will take for you to get from where you are to where you want to get to. If you find yourself lost, you can call someone on the phone and you can look at the sat nav and say, yo, I'm at this so street, right? Or this so avenue, blah de blah. You need to know where you are mentally, where you are financially in your business, where you are in your creativity. It might not be something you want to see, it might not be something you like, but you have to be realistic and you have to be aware. We can't be walking around blindly, and I think sometimes we do that. We walk around thinking that, yeah, I'm good, but we ain't good. Okay, so get clear on where you are. And even with your relationships, like your family members and stuff like that, your home, like your environment, how is that for you? Like, what is that like? And why I say this is because sometimes we actually don't realize the impacts that the people around us have on our creativity. The people you have around you can actually impact or distract you from where you're trying to go. So find out where you are, who's around you, who's pouring into you, who's giving you the energy and who's taking the energy away from you, who's a charger, who's a drainer type thing. That's the first thing you can do. Secondly, is to identify these obstacles, right? The barriers and the triggers. Okay, so you know where you are right now. So identify the people, identify the limiting beliefs. I give them a name. What's the name? Like, so you can actually say, all right, cool, I have negative self-talk, or I don't actually believe in myself, or I don't have the confidence. What is the things? What's the barriers? What's the obstacles? What's the triggers? What are the things that take you back there, right? Do you have imposter syndrome? Do you compare yourself? whatever it might be, identify it. Once you get clear on these things, you now know how to tackle these things and how to and where to find the help and the strategies and the systems to kind of get over these things. The third thing is to start to work on your mindset. Retrain your mindset. So for example, if you are someone who has negative self-belief, then it will be a thing of whatever negative terms you're saying to yourself. For example, I'm not good enough, or this is as good as it's going to get. You need to change that fixed mindset by writing out daily. This is what I did for myself anyway. Writing out daily the opposite of the negative. So for example, if you say I'm not good enough, or this is as good as it's going to get, you say I am good enough. This is the best is yet to come. I am good enough. The best is yet to come. So you're basically breaking down, destroying the old mindset and setting up a new mindset. So you're going to practice saying those things over again. Okay? So that's number 3. Start working on your mindset. A lot of things that helped me was reading books, praying, reading the Bible, journaling. I go for clarity walks as much as I can. I try to do it every day, but my legs hurt sometimes. But clarity walks, I go for a walk because I feel like I can think more clearly when I'm out there in nature. So I go for walks. You can read books, you can exercise, journal, meditate, practicing gratitude. All of these things can help you towards reframing your mindset. I listen to motivational content as well on YouTube or on Spotify. Just anything that will take you away from where you are to where you need to get to. Number 4, create a plan. Redesign your life, okay? Once you start to change the way you think, start to look at the person that you want to become. Describe that individual. Describe what your business will look like if you were at your dream goal. Describe that ideal life, the creative life with no limits. What does that look like to you? Write it down and then start taking one step every day towards becoming that person. Taking one step every day, so you can make little milestones, little chunks of who you want to become, like little steps that you can take daily to become that person. And I kid you not, you do this consistently, you will see your life changing. 3 months, 6 months, a year. You look back and be like, rah, TK was right. Nah, but definitely this is kind of what I did. I did a few other things as well, but this is getting too long already as it is, and I wanted it to be below 30 minutes. But like I said, subscribe and share with your friends, because there's a lot of gems coming in these videos. So stay tuned. And I really appreciate you taking the time to listen out. And like I said, if you've got any topics you would like for me to cover in these podcasts, or any creative you might know who you might want to hear me have an interview with, write it in the description or the comment section. Please do give it a 5-star rating, and I will shout you out on the next episode. So have a blessed week, guys. Have a blessed day. Peace.